what's coming. So Bill Mcdonald is the chair of the YMCA Northumberland board. So welcome, Bill.
Thank you, Eunice. Good afternoon, everybody. As Eunice said, I'm the chair of the board for another few months, and going to be taking over one of it. I'd like to start by respectfully acknowledging that we are located in the traditional and treaty territory of the, I hope I pronounce this, Nishisauga, that's Mississauga, and Chippewa Nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations, which include Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Orville, Scugog Island, Rama, Mosole, and Georgina Island First Nations. We respectfully acknowledge that the William Treaties First Nations have been stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters, and that today remain vigilant over their health and integrity for generations to come. We are all treaty people. Now, we're privileged to welcome the Honorable David Caccini, Minister of the Environment, Conservation, and Parks. We're also joined by an illustrious group, His Worship John Henderson, Mayor of the town of Coburg, Deputy Minister, where is she? Suzanne Seguin, where is she? Oh, right there, sorry. Mayor Robert Crate of Trent Hills, who's also the warden of Northumberland County. He's also a fantastic hockey player. He and I were defense partners for years. I'll tell you that later. I'd also like to welcome the board of directors of our Y. Can you stand up and raise your hands just to show who you are? One of whom you'll note is our Deputy Chief of Police for Coburg. I'd also like to welcome the media and all friends who have gathered today. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Our Y has proudly served Northumberland County for more than 150 years. We have continued service through depression, wars, and worldwide pandemics. And as you remember, I think, there is a war happening in Ukraine, which can have spillover effects for us. Organizations like the Y that keep our society strong and healthy should be remembered, because that's what keeps our society strong. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary describes resilience as an ability to recover from or adjust easily to misfortune or changes. I'm not sure about the easily part of the definition. I do believe that the YMCA Northumberland is resilient. As with past challenges, the challenges faced the last 2 years have been weathered with the support of many, and I want to take a moment to acknowledge all the YMCA staff and volunteers who not just shown up, but continually stepped up through the pandemic. Can you raise your hands who are volunteers and employees of the Y? Here. There are thousands of books and theories about how to be resilient and get through tough times. But the one thing that we all seem to agree upon is maintaining and creating relationships. YMCA Northumberland is proud of our strong relationship with the Trillium Foundation. They have been a support to us, to our communities, and this YMCA for decades. We are extremely grateful to the Ontario Trillium Foundation and the Government of Ontario for providing 3 vital grants to our Y. To help address the challenges faced due to COVID, and at the same time as adapting a more than 40-year-old building. These two community building fund grants and Resilient Communities Fund grant will help RY meet the increasing needs of Northumberland County by providing essential services that support personal, physical, and mental health. The three grants provide for staffing support, the acquisition of new cleaning equipment, and the creation of safe, healthy spaces essential to moving forward. These grants will ensure that RY can continue to help thousands, and I mean thousands, of individuals, children, and their families can have a safe, healthy place for care, recreation, and learning. It will help hundreds of seniors get the activity and social interaction that will keep them physically and mentally healthy. The grants help give meaningful training and employment to hundreds of youth and provide a safe, healthy place for adults to volunteer, work out, and engage with their community. I'm lucky that one of our board members, Jessica, who's standing beside Chief Paul, was very instrumental in creating Young Moms program that was so essential to helping young mothers adjust to having young children. That's just one example that has always struck me. And when I work out upstairs to try to create my hog body from being parachuted to something other, I see the youth up there enjoying themselves, interacting. I was looking into our gym the other day when I was working out on Saturday, watching a young volunteer, two little kids, teaching them to play hockey. And they were clearly already better than Bob Creek. But that type of interaction is what this community, our Y community, helps generally. So on behalf of our Y, I sincerely extend our gratitude to the Ontario Trillium Foundation and the Government of Ontario for their support in these three vital grants. And to MPP David Caccini, to you personally, for your advocacy and support in helping get here. You're a credit to what you do, you're a credit to our community, and I thank you personally. Together we will continue to build healthy, vibrant communities here throughout our county. So thank you for your time and support, and now I turn it back to our CEO.
Great, thank you very much, Bill. And now I want to introduce our MPP, David Caccini, and as Bill said, David has been instrumental in helping us secure these grants. Anytime there is funding available, I just need to pick up the phone and he's always there for us. So over to you, David.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eunice. Well, thanks, Eunice. It's great to be with all of you today. Thank you, Bill, for your work, and to all of the board, staff, and volunteers who each and every day make our community a better place to live in. And to my elected colleagues who are here today at the municipal level, I mean, this pandemic's been incredibly trying, but I've really enjoyed working with each and every one of you through it to build stronger and more resilient communities. And that's what this is all about. That's what this announcement here today is all about. It's through two streams of funding supported through the Trillium Foundation, a remarkable foundation. Why I like it, and you don't often hear politicians saying this, it's not a stodgy politician deciding where this money goes. It's your community. Through Resilient Communities, through the Trillium Foundation, which are our community leaders just like all of you, who give of their time to serve and to have a voice at the table. We as government decide the big pots of money, and locally we advocate and fight like you know what to get the funding into our communities. But it's these local leaders who sit on the table, and I was shocked when I first was elected that we didn't have anyone locally sitting at the table. That's since changed, and we've got some strong leaders who are going to bat for our community. But that's what this is all about. So when the pandemic hit and we worked as a cabinet, as a government, about deciding, a very fitting name of the new fund, a community building fund, Resilient Communities Funds, designed to support communities build back. We've often heard the term build back better and terminology like that, and become more resilient. Because we can't, I think all of us agree, go back to the last 2 years and live in a cycle forever. and it's about how we respond as a community. We've yearned to be together like we are here today, to see each other, our youth, who haven't had that dignity of coming out. I mean, I grew up playing basketball, as you can tell. I never got the inches to end up playing on the Raptors, but anyone can be a politician. But you know, growing up playing basketball on the court here and growing up in this community, I saw the value. And to think there are generations now that didn't have that in grades 7 and 8, or 9 or 10, the first years of high school, or those first few years of university. The YMCA builds strong communities each and every day just by showing up to be a part of the program. From K to Gray, the YMCA has it all. And what's so exciting as we've been talking is to see the number of young people come into our communities and come into the Y just in the last few minutes. I mean, this is what you do. And the staff and the volunteers here make our communities these special places. And I know it's been incredibly difficult on them all, and especially on our youth and in our community. And so to the work that you've done, you have my thanks. And thanks on behalf of the Government of Ontario and to the volunteers who through this difficult time, the board members, you've stuck with this organization and you've thought outside the box. We've all been on Zooms figuring out how to mute, unmute, and make it happen. And so I'm proud to announce that the Government of Ontario, through the Trillium Foundation, investing over $750,000 right here into Cobourg YMCA Northumberland. The thanks goes to the staff and the team who made this application, who've been working with us in government, who've reached out and said, hey, we need a new funding envelope to be responsive to build resilient communities. And so it's a two-way street, and we can't do it without you. We can't serve locally. All politics is local. You can't do our jobs as either mayors, councillors, or provincial reps without that two-way dialogue. So thank you. And Eunice, just a few short words. She is a champion. I pick up the phone, but she's always on the other end calling and has never, is such a stalwart and strong advocate for YMCA Northumberland. And it truly is Northumberland, because we spoke about Trent Hills, who've been for decades trying to get that new rec center, trying to break ground on that. And Eunice was there to build collaborations. Yes, as public policymakers, we can mindlessly always just go to bat and exacerbate silos, or you can work with special people like Eunice who break down silos and who work together. So the Y's reach into Trent Hills, and I know Mayor Crate's been working incredibly hard, and I'm proud that we're getting it done. We're getting that after years, we're actually getting it done. We're not talking about it, we're getting it done. And I'm so proud that we're going to see that, and Eunice is there to support the community, rural as far north as a small European country, up to Trent Hills, or right here in Cobourg. She's been there. And to Eunice, to you, and the staff, board and volunteers, thank you. In closing, as we look towards the summer months and a much brighter future ahead, I know that through thick and thin, the Y's been there, and the Y's going to be there. For these exciting next few months and into the summer. And as we move beyond, dare I say beyond, or to live with COVID, the Y's always been there, innovative, thinking about how we can support people. And we all have a role to tell our community, to the senior at home who's been scared to come out, who lives perhaps with an immunocompromised state or a family member. It's on us to show them that you can come and you can come back and engage in your communities, those people-to-people interactions that make our communities the special places, and you can do it with confidence, knowing that this staff has been working around the clock with board and volunteers to make it a safe environment, that your government stood with you to support you in doing that, making retrofits to change rooms, making building retrofits, installing new equipment to make this safe. We've been doing that. So we have learned and been working through this pandemic to emerge stronger. And again, I just can't thank staff and Eunice and the amazing team, the board, enough for working hard, and for the Trillium Foundation and to work with colleagues in government to make this opportunity possible. So again, a real honor to serve and work with you. I love the two-way street, and I love that the Y really exemplifies all that's great about our communities. From K to Gray, regardless of creed, color, religion, you've got a place right here at the YMCA. It truly embodies community. So thank you for being here today. Thank you to the YM team. I appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
I have lots of great memories of stories I could tell you about playing hockey at Coburg. Bill and I spent a lot of time on the ice and a lot of time in the dressing room. I think the idea was that in order to have the fun in the dressing room, you had to go out and exercise. So we did that first and then we had fun. Anyways, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to join David Caccini and Mayor Henderson and the YMCA staff for this significant announcement. The Coburg YMCA has always been regardless of an individual's age or stage of life, a sanctuary for our residents. It's a place where you can grow both in mind and body through participation in health and wellness programs, through engagement in early years, programming through a culture designed to foster a sense of community and well-being. The Y's positive impact is felt across Northumberland County, with programming and child care services available in a number of our communities. In the municipality of Trent Hills, we are pleased to be long-standing partners with the YMCA in recreation, planning, and programming through our community center. The funding announcement today comes at a particularly challenging time for the well-being of the Northumberland residents, and as we enter another year dealing with the repercussions of COVID-19 pandemic. And hopefully, as David said, we can look forward to a summer where there's less challenges for that and more challenges or chances to get together and enjoy ourselves. The importance of this investment cannot be understated. As we look towards recovery, both economic and personal, after 2 long years, organizations like the YMCA will be crucial to this effort. With the Government of Ontario's $760,000 investment through the Ontario Trillium Foundation, the Coburg YMCA will be able to install new heating and ventilation systems, provide for operating costs to rebuild their change rooms, ensuring the facility is equipped to continue serving the community. On behalf of Northumberland County, I thank the province and offer my congratulations to Eunice Kirkpatrick and everyone involved in securing the funding for the YMCA. And a special thank you for David for his advocacy for all of Northumberland. I was going to say Trent Hills because I'm always bugging him for more money. But David, you know, David always answers the phone. I can phone him at 9 o'clock at night and with a question or a request, and he answers the phone. So I appreciate all he does for everybody in Northumberland County. So thanks, David.
Thank you.
Well, I'm so delighted to be here. This is a magical moment, and I remember there's a proverb of phrasing many years ago. It says it takes a village to raise a child. But what we've learned today, it actually takes a whole entire community, starting with the leadership of Eunice, with the Y board, and all its many, many volunteers from youth to senior. It takes an integration into the community. The Y has always had a strong foundation. I'm proud to say I've lived here now for 37 years, and the Y was standing here long before I arrived. They were strong 37 years ago. They're even stronger today. I look behind me with the accolades that we give in language, but the words that stick out for me is building a stronger community. And we know sometimes that can't happen without funding. And again, when I say funding, here's your answer. I have to tell you that MPP Minister Caccini has been here not only for the Y, but for many projects throughout. During our term, he has been a pit bull. And I say that in a very gracious way because his tenacity, combined with the leadership from the Y, makes magical things happen. And today I'm pleased to say to you, I'm really proud that our Chief Paul Vandegraff, is not only our Chief of Police for the town of Cobourg, but he's also a board member. I'm pleased to say that we have some council members who are ill today, unfortunately, but I'm joined by Deputy Mayor Suzanne Seguin and our Community Coordinator for Community Service, Councillor Emily Chorley. That shows the strength. We don't see the Y as an isolated institution. They're part of our heartbeat of this community. And if you track them on their website, you find they have tentacles throughout Northumberland County. And I know that working with Mayor Crate of Trent Hills, or Warden, he is beyond delighted with the announcement for Trent Hills and the relationship they're about to have with the newly developed Built Y. But again, this can't happen without leadership and compassion from our community. And David, on behalf of yourself and Minister McLeod, who I know perhaps couldn't make it today because of her busy schedule, I want to thank you that we're a part of this with the Y, where our partners will hold hands and we'll have a bright future together. So on behalf, again, of CO Vaughan, senior staff, and Cobourg Council, thank you, and to Eunice and the board, a deep congratulations. Thank you, David.
David, tell me about this pretty exciting announcement for Cobourg and Northumberland, really.
Very exciting. I mean, this is what building healthy and active communities is all about. We know we want to foster healthy lifestyles, active communities, especially over the past 2 years. The pandemic's shown us that we've got to be there to do that and to support that. And after being apart for so long, these are the gems that build active and healthy communities. So for the government to support with a $760,000 investment to retrofit, make building improvements, make this a safer, more modern space to gather. I mean, this is credit to the incredible staff, Eunice and the team at the Y, the board, the volunteers who work tirelessly. And let's not forget that the Y's outreach spans beyond the physical confines of this building. They support programming all over Northumberland County, and I'm proud that we're getting it done and supporting them right here in our community.
Yeah.